afternoon to Sin's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today we're going to be reviewing Face the Night by Lenny Forbes. This was kind of an emotional read for me because I loved Lenny Forbes' Saga of Seven Sons trilogy. I still have to read The Obsidian Butterfly, but we'll get to it. But this is the last full manuscript that she wrote while she was battling cancer, and unfortunately she did lose that fight with cancer. It's, just a little backstory. She was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4, after she gave birth to her beautiful baby boy. So right at the beginning of motherhood, she is doing this fight, and while she's doing this fight and, being a new mom, she's writing this book. And I'm telling you this because it resonates throughout the novel. Like, just knowing that going into this book, it just made everything more impactful. Just the characterization and those dynamics and just the feel of the novel. It made it more impactful. Like, every phrase, you could tell that it was coming from her heart. You could tell that she was pouring herself and this idea into the novel. Even just that title, Face the Night. I mean, it's just really impactful going into this book, knowing what I knew, and it just made it more, in my opinion, more phenomenal. And that's really funny considering this is like a Western kind of fantasy. I don't read Westerns. They're not my go-to genre, just because I've seen a lot of like classic, spaghetti films, as you call them. I've seen a lot of those classic Westerns, and I just kind of find reading Westerns a little cheesy. That's just my personal opinion. If you like Westerns, cool, good for you. I'm not made for Westerns. I'm not. And you know what? Not every book, not every genre is for everybody. And that's perfectly fine. I don't like Westerns. I don't really read a whole lot of romance either. Those are not my cup of teas. That your cup of tea is great. But that's why I was like really shocked that I loved this book so much, because it had that really cool Western feel to it, and it didn't come off as cheesy, and it blended into the fantasy element really, really well. Like, I went into this book thinking, God, I really hope I'm going to love this, especially because her previous series was heavy fantasy, but also heavy native, like Mayan, Aztec kind of feel to it. So completely different. It's like, boop, you went down 2 forks, and it worked really, really well. And I found myself like really enjoying this Western feel to the story. Maybe I just haven't read the right kind of Western, but whatever. It had a really, really good Western feel to it. Like, I loved envisioning this world that she was building. I loved, the ranches, the carriages, the horses, the heist, the train robbing. It was just really fun. It was energetic. It was really, really fun to read because of that. But it was also really emotional as well. Catriona, she lost her family at a young age. They were murdered in front of her by someone she thought was, a family friend. Someone she thought, she'd marry into that family because she had a long-standing crush on Adrian, his son. And she just witnessed her family getting murdered, and she was able to save herself because she is blessed by Saint Prudentia. So what that means is, there are a bunch of saints, but for her, she was blessed by Saint Prudentia. And what that means is she has this ability. Anyone blessed has a certain ability. Hers is foresight. So whenever danger is about to strike, she gets a vision of the danger first so that she can avoid it and protect herself. And that's really, really cool. You know, that is something I think I've seen before. I feel like I've read that recently. But again, that didn't really matter to me. It was just the way she was able to bring it to life, Forbes. You know, the way Forbes was able to bring it to life in this story while also meshing it with this Western feel and making it blend really well together, that Western feel and that fantasy element. It worked really, really well. So, you know, she becomes an outlaw, you know, Black Cat. What was her name again? I forgot. It's funny, I wrote it in my notes, but I didn't write in these notes. Black Cat Whitfield, I believe is her code name. Everyone thinks she's dead. Everyone she knew as a child thinks she's dead. So she's grown up with some outlaws who rescued her in the desert, right? But now circumstances have brought her back into the home of the man who murdered her family. And now she's the governess to his kid, and he doesn't recognize her at all, because last time he saw her, she was like 11, and now she's a beautiful young woman. However, Adrian recognizes her, and they have to rebond, and they're forming their friendship, and he has no idea what his father did. Like, he's the complete opposite of who his father is. I liked the dual POV, because you're going between Catriona and you're going between Catriona and Adrian, sorry. And it really did give the story a really good scope. And the pacing was also excellent as well in fleshing out those character dynamics and the relationship between them and building them up, because it was like bam, 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 you know? And then at those really crucial, pivotal moments, that's when the pacing would kind of just slow down. But it didn't hinder the story at all. It added to that rising tension and helped make those scenes more impactful for you, the reader. And that's what I really, really enjoyed of it, you know. It was riveting. It was fast-paced, but it was also very thoughtful in its storytelling. But, you know, it was just an excellent book. I highly recommend it. It was just... knowing, maybe I went into it kind of biased, but again, I'm not really like a Western girl, but I really did love that Western element, because it felt very energizing, almost. But it blended really well with that fantasy aspect, which is probably why I liked it so much. And that pacing, the characterization, those character dynamics, they were all very thoughtful and very well done. And I just think you can really feel Forbes pour her heart and soul into this book, you know. You feel her when you're reading this. And I think, you know, as far as full last manuscripts go, this is a beautiful way for her to live on through, other than her, you know, beautiful baby boy. I think it's really such a wonderful book. I really do, and I highly recommend it to you guys. So if you want to check it out, it will of course include details in the description. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book-loving friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.